Jake Martinez stared at his computer screen in the communication room. The numbers didn't make sense. Radio signals from Europa had gone silent 3 hours ago. Titan base stopped responding 2 hours after that. Now his screen showed something that made his blood run cold. Ships, hundreds of them. Massive alien vessels appearing out of nowhere around Earth's outer colonies like ghosts materializing in space. Jake had never seen anything like them. Each ship looked like a giant metal snake with blue lights running down its sides. They were 3 times larger than Earth's biggest warships. "Commander Harper to the bridge." Jake spoke into his radio with shaking hands. "We have a situation." Lisa Harper ran down the corridor of the UES Defender. Her boots echoed against the metal floor as alarms began wailing throughout the ship. When she reached the bridge, her crew was already at battle stations. The main screen showed what Jake had discovered: an alien fleet surrounding their colonies. "How many ships?" Lisa asked, trying to keep her voice steady. 230 confirmed, replied Lieutenant Sam Cooper from his station. "Maybe more hiding behind the larger ones." Lisa watched as blue beams shot out from the alien ships. But these weren't weapons. They were tractor beams pulling civilian transports and mining stations toward the alien vessels like fish caught in nets. Thousands of people were being taken prisoner. "Are they responding to our communications?" Lisa asked. Before anyone could answer, every screen in the ship flickered. A new image appeared. It was a creature that looked like a man-sized lizard walking on 2 legs. Its scales were bright blue and its eyes were yellow like a snake's. When it spoke, the computer translated its words into English. "Humans of Earth," the creature said. "I am Commander Krixtal of the Zeltharian Empire. We have taken your people prisoner. You have 72 hours to surrender completely to our rule. If you refuse, we will kill 1 prisoner every hour until you agree. This is not negotiable." The screen went black. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of computers and the distant sound of the ship's engines. "How many people did they take?" Lisa asked quietly. Sam checked his scanner. "At least 15,000 from Europa, maybe 10,000 from Titan, plus crews from mining stations and transport ships." Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. 25,000 innocent people held hostage by creatures they knew nothing about. Earth's military could fight the alien fleet, but any battle would result in the death of every hostage. On Europa, in the research station's laboratory, Dr. Alex Turner had been examining ice samples when everything went wrong. The lights flickered. Alarms screamed, and through the window he saw the impossible. Alien ships filled the sky like storm clouds. Alex looked ordinary. Average height, brown hair, glasses, and the soft hands of someone who spent his days looking through microscopes. He wore a simple lab coat over casual clothes. To anyone watching, he seemed like just another scientist who studied tiny life forms in ice. But Alex Turner was not ordinary at all. 20 years ago, he had been Captain Alex Turner of Earth's Special Operations Division. He had fought in 3 different wars, led missions behind enemy lines, and earned medals that remained classified even today. His file was buried so deep that only 5 people on Earth knew his real background. After his military service, Alex had genuinely become fascinated with science. He earned his doctorate in xenobiology and spent years studying how life might exist on other worlds. But the military training never left him. His mind still worked like a soldier's, always watching, always planning, always ready. When the tractor beam lifted the research station, Alex remained calm while his colleagues panicked. Dr. Maya Chen, who worked in the station's engineering department, grabbed his arm. "What do we do?" she asked, her eyes wide with fear. "We stay quiet and watch everything," Alex replied calmly. "Learn their patterns. See how they think." Maya stared at him. Most people would be terrified, but Alex seemed almost interested. The research station, along with dozens of other buildings and ships, was pulled into the cargo hold of the largest alien vessel. The space was enormous, easily the size of a football stadium. Thousands of human prisoners huddled together on the metal floor, surrounded by blue-scaled guards carrying strange weapons. Alex helped Maya find a spot near the back wall where they could observe without drawing attention. He watched everything. how many guards there were, where they stood, when they changed shifts, how they held their weapons, the layout of the cargo hold, the locations of doors and air vents. "You're very calm for someone who just got kidnapped by aliens," Maya whispered. Alex shrugged. "Panicking won't help anyone. Better to understand our situation first." A Zeltharian guard approached their group. It was 7 feet tall with muscular arms and legs. Its blue scales reflected the harsh lights of the cargo hold. When it spoke, a device on its belt translated the words, "You will remain silent. You will not attempt to escape. Any resistance will result in immediate execution of 10 prisoners. You exist now only because your surrender might convince your leaders to submit." The guard walked away, its clawed feet clicking on the metal floor. Around them, people began to cry or pray quietly. Children held on to their parents. Everyone looked terrified, everyone except Alex Turner. He continued watching, cataloging, planning. His scientific mind analyzed the aliens like specimens under a microscope. Their height suggested higher gravity on their home world. Their scales meant they evolved from reptiles, which implied cold-blooded biology. Their weapons appeared to be energy-based, probably plasma or laser technology. But his military mind saw different things. The guards were confident to the point of arrogance. They treated humans like helpless animals. Their formation was rigid, following standard patterns that suggested formal military training but little flexibility. Most importantly, they had made a critical error. They thought they knew what humans were capable of. Maya noticed Alex's slight smile. "What are you thinking about?" "Just wondering how long it's going to take them to realize their mistake." Alex replied quietly. "What mistake?" Alex looked at the alien guards, then back at Maya. His mild expression hadn't changed, but something cold flickered behind his glasses. "They think they captured a bunch of helpless civilians," he said softly. "They have no idea what they actually brought aboard their ship." Captain Ryan Bell stood in the command center on Luna Base, staring at tactical displays that showed nothing but bad news. Every simulation his computers ran ended the same way. If Earth's fleet attacked the alien ships, the hostages would die before human weapons could disable even half the enemy vessels. "What about a surgical strike on their command ship?" asked Colonel Janet Price, his second-in-command. Ryan shook his head. "Their flagship is in the center of the formation, surrounded by escort vessels. We'd lose 30 ships just getting close, enough to fire. And the moment they detect our approach, they start executing prisoners." "So we just surrender?" Janet asked. "I don't know," Ryan admitted. 25,000 lives versus the freedom of the entire human race. There has to be another option. He looked out the window at Earth hanging in the black sky. Somewhere, out there, innocent people waited in alien prison cells while their leaders struggled to find a solution that didn't exist. On the Zeltharian flagship, Alex Turner sat with his back against the cargo hold wall, appearing to rest like many other prisoners. But his eyes were always moving, always watching. He had spent the last 6 hours memorizing every detail of their prison. The cargo hold had 4 exits. 2 led to corridors that connected to other parts of the ship. 1 opened to an airlock for loading cargo. The 4th was smaller, probably, for maintenance access. Guards stood at each exit in pairs, changing every 4 hours with military precision. 47 guards total in the cargo hold. More patrols walked the corridors beyond. The Zeltharians carried weapons that looked like rifles but fired energy bolts instead of bullets. They also wore armor that covered most of their bodies, leaving only their heads and joints exposed. Most importantly, Alex noticed something the aliens didn't realize about themselves. They were creatures of habit. Every guard stood in exactly the same spot as the previous one. Patrol routes never varied. Even their conversations followed predictable patterns. Rigid military training, Alex thought. Probably effective against other organized armies, but creates blind spots. Dr. Maya Chen sat down beside him, pretending to be exhausted. She was actually one of the smartest people Alex had ever met, with degrees in mechanical engineering and computer science. Over the past few hours, she had started to suspect there was more to the quiet scientist than met the eye. The air recycling system is interesting, Maya whispered, pointing at vents in the ceiling. Those aren't standard designs. The airflow patterns suggest the ship uses atmospheric processors similar to our industrial models, but more advanced. Alex nodded. Maya was probing, trying to see if he understood the technical implications. He decided to trust her with part of the truth. The vents are large enough for a person to crawl through, he replied quietly. And if the atmospheric processors are centralized, disabling them would force the crew to wear environmental suits. Maya's eyes widened slightly. How? Do you know that? I pay attention to details, Alex said. It's a useful habit. Before Maya could ask more questions, a commotion started near the main entrance. Commander Krikstal entered the cargo hold with a group of senior officers. The alien commander was larger than the regular guards, with darker blue scales and yellow eyes that seemed to glow in the harsh lighting. Bring me 5 prisoners, Krikstal ordered in his translated voice. Choose randomly. Guards grabbed 5 people from different parts of the cargo hold. A middle-aged man who had been working on a mining station, a young woman who was probably a teacher or administrator, an elderly couple who might have been tourists visiting Europa, a teenage boy who couldn't stop shaking. Your leaders have not responded to our demands, Krikstal announced to all the prisoners. Perhaps they need motivation to understand we are serious. One of the guards raised his weapon toward the 5 hostages. Parents covered their children's eyes. People began pleading and crying. Alex watched carefully. This was psychological warfare, designed to break human morale and force Earth's surrender. But Krikstal made a mistake. Instead of actually executing the prisoners, he waited. He wanted to see fear and desperation. He wanted the humans to beg. Stop, called out a voice from the crowd. A woman stepped forward. She looked like she might be a doctor or nurse. Please don't hurt them. We'll do whatever you want. Krikstal's eyes focused on her with satisfaction. Your species is weak, emotional, easily controlled through fear of loss. The alien commander gestured and the guards lowered their weapons. The 5 hostages were pushed back into the general population, unharmed but traumatized. This was merely a demonstration, Krikstal continued. Your leaders have 60 hours remaining. If they do not surrender unconditionally, executions will begin. 1 prisoner every hour until compliance is achieved. After the aliens left, the cargo hold buzzed with frightened conversations. People talked about Earth's military, wondering if rescue was coming. Others discussed the possibility that their governments might actually surrender to save hostage lives. Alex said nothing, but he was thinking furiously. The demonstration revealed crucial information about Zeltharian psychology. They were predators who enjoyed intimidating their prey. They believed fear was an effective control mechanism. Most importantly, they had convinced themselves that humans were inherently weak and cowardly. They're going to be very surprised, Alex thought grimly. Maya moved closer to him. You're planning something, she whispered. Maybe, Alex replied. I want to help. Alex studied her face. Maya was scared like everyone else, but her fear was mixed with determination and anger. More importantly, she was brilliant. He would need technical expertise for what he was planning. What do you know about starship power systems? Alex asked, quietly. Quite a lot. I helped design some of the newer Earth vessels before I switched to research work. And alien technology? Maya paused. I've read all the theoretical papers. Most starships use fusion reactors connected to distribution networks that channel power to different ship systems. The basic principles should be similar regardless of which species built them. Alex nodded. How long would it take you to figure out their specific systems if you could access their engineering sections? Maybe a few hours if I could examine their computers and power distribution panels. Why? Alex looked around the cargo hold at the thousands of frightened prisoners. Then he looked at the guards who stood casually at their posts, convinced they were watching helpless civilians. Because in about 12 hours, I'm going to start a war, Alex said calmly, and I want to make sure we win. The second night aboard the Zeltharian flagship, Alex Turner waited until the guards changed shifts at 0200 hours. He had timed their routine perfectly over the past day. For exactly 90 seconds, the maintenance access door was unwatched while Guards moved from one post to another. Alex had spent his years as a scientist, but his body remembered 20 years of military training. He moved through the shadows between sleeping prisoners like a ghost, making no sound on the metal floor. His ordinary appearance was perfect camouflage. Even if someone saw him, they would think he was just another frightened civilian trying to find a bathroom. The maintenance door was locked, but Alex had observed the guards entering their codes. Ziltharians used 4-digit numbers, probably because they had 4 fingers on each hand. He tried the most common combinations first. The third attempt worked, and the door opened silently. The maintenance corridor was dark and narrow, designed for repair work rather than normal travel. Alex crawled through it carefully, following air ducts and power cables toward the ship's engineering sections. His knowledge of starship design helped him navigate. All vessels, human or alien, followed similar basic layouts for practical reasons. After 20 minutes of careful movement, Alex found what he was looking for: a guard station where 2 Ziltharians monitored engineering systems during the night shift. They were relaxed, talking casually about their home planet and complaining about the boring duty assignment. Alex studied them from the darkness of an air vent. Both guards wore standard armor but had removed their helmets. Their weapons leaned against a control panel, within easy reach but not in their hands. Years of xenobiology research had taught Alex about Ziltharian anatomy. They were reptilian, which meant certain vulnerabilities. Cold-blooded creatures became sluggish in low temperatures. Their scales were tough, but joints remained flexible and unprotected. Most importantly, their necks contained a nerve cluster that controlled motor functions. Alex had fashioned tools from materials in the cargo hold: a piece of metal sharpened on the floor, wire stripped from a broken piece of equipment. Nothing that looked like a weapon to casual observation, but deadly in trained hands. He dropped from the air vent behind the guards like a hunting cat. The first Ziltharian never knew what happened. Alex's improvised blade found the exact spot where the skull connected to the spine, severing the neural pathway instantly. The creature collapsed without making a sound. The second guard turned at the movement, but Alex was already moving. Military training took over completely. Strike, disable, neutralize. The guard's weapon clattered to the floor as lifeless claws released it. Alex checked the corridor for other guards, then activated his stolen radio. "Maya, can you hear me?" Back in the cargo hold, Maya Chen had been lying awake, listening for Alex's signal. She pressed the small communicator he had given her earlier. It was made from parts of a broken tablet and looked like a piece of debris to anyone else. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm in Engineering Section 7. Can you create a distraction? I need the corridor guards to move away from your area for about 10 minutes. Maya looked around the cargo hold. Most prisoners were sleeping, but a few parents with young children were still awake. She crawled over to Janet Morris, a teacher from Europa, whose 6-year-old daughter was having nightmares. "The little girl is sick," Maya announced loudly enough for the guards to hear. "She has a high fever and she's having trouble breathing. She needs medical attention right now." The guards approached reluctantly. Ziltharians seemed to find human children particularly alien and unpleasant. When the girl started coughing dramatically, both guards stepped back in obvious disgust. "Please," Maya continued, "at least let us move her to a cleaner area. The air circulation is better near the maintenance door." Wanting to avoid dealing with sick humans, the guards allowed Maya and several other prisoners to move the ill child to the far side of the cargo hold. This left the maintenance door temporarily unwatched. Clear for 8 minutes, Maya radioed to Alex. Alex had used the time to study the engineering controls. Ziltharian text was impossible to read, but the layout of systems was logical. Power, distribution panels, atmospheric controls, and communication arrays were clearly marked with symbols and status lights. He wasn't trying to destroy the ship. That would kill everyone aboard, including the human prisoners. Instead, Alex planned something more subtle: a series of cascading failures that would cripple the vessel without causing catastrophic damage. First, he introduced instabilities into the power grid, not enough to cause explosions, but sufficient to trigger automatic safety systems that would reduce power to non-essential systems. Second, He reprogrammed atmospheric processors to gradually reduce oxygen levels in crew sections, while maintaining normal levels in the cargo hold. Most importantly, Alex accessed the communication system and installed a virus he had been designing in his head. The program would slowly corrupt data transmissions between ships in the alien fleet, making coordination increasingly difficult. Maya's voice crackled through the radio. "Time's up. Guards are returning." Alex made one final adjustment to the engineering controls, then crawled back through the maintenance tunnels. By the time he returned to the cargo hold, the guards had resumed their normal positions, and the sick child had made a miraculous recovery. "How did it go?" Maya whispered when Alex settled down beside her. "Phase 1 is complete," Alex replied quietly. "Now we wait for them to notice the problems." 6 hours later, as the alien crew began their morning shift, strange things started happening throughout the ship. Lights flickered in some sections while becoming too bright in others. The temperature controls began cycling unpredictably. Communication displays showed random static. Commander Krixtal was annoyed, but not concerned. Starships required constant maintenance, and minor technical problems were normal on long voyages. He ordered engineering teams to investigate and repair the malfunctions. What Krixtal didn't realize was that each repair attempt made the problems worse. Alex's sabotage was designed to spread like a disease through the ship's systems. Every time a technician tried to fix one problem, it created 2 more problems elsewhere. By mid-morning, the Zeltharian crew was dealing with dozens of system failures. Nothing catastrophic, but the accumulating problems required more and more attention. Guards were pulled from routine duties to assist with repairs. Shifts were extended to cover essential positions. In the cargo hold, Alex appeared to be sleeping peacefully like most other prisoners. But he was actually listening to everything happening around him. Guard conversations revealed growing frustration among the crew. Technical discussions overheard in the corridors told him which systems were failing and how the aliens were trying to fix them. "It's working," he told Maya during a quiet moment. "They're starting to lose control of their own ship." Maya looked around the cargo hold. The guards seemed more tense than before, and some equipment that had been functioning yesterday was now displaying error messages. "What happens next?" she asked. Alex checked the improvised watch he had constructed from electronic components. "In about 6 hours, they're going to realize this isn't accidental. When that happens, they'll increase security and start looking for saboteurs. Won't that be dangerous for all of us?" Alex's expression grew cold. "Very dangerous. That's when the real war begins." On Luna Base, Captain Ryan Bell watched his sensors with growing confusion. The alien fleet was maintaining position around the outer colonies, but their formation was becoming sloppy. Ships drifted slightly out of alignment. Communication patterns seemed erratic. "Are they having technical problems?" asked Colonel Price. "Maybe," Ryan replied. "Or maybe it's a trap. Keep monitoring everything." Ryan didn't know that aboard the alien flagship, Alex Turner was preparing for the most dangerous phase of his plan. The next 12 hours would determine whether 25,000 human prisoners lived or died. By the 3rd day, Commander Krixtal knew something was very wrong with his flagship. The technical failures were spreading faster than his crews could repair them. Worse, the problem seemed coordinated, as if someone understood their systems better than they did. "How is this possible?" Krixtal demanded as he stood in the engineering section. Around him, Zeltharian technicians worked frantically at control panels that flickered with error messages. Chief Engineer Vextar looked up from a diagnostic display. "Commander, these failures are not random. Someone with extensive knowledge of our technology is causing deliberate sabotage." Krixtal's yellow eyes narrowed. "The humans?" "Impossible, sir. Humans are primitive. They lack the understanding necessary to penetrate our systems." But even as Vextar spoke, another power coupling overloaded in a shower of sparks. The lights dimmed throughout the engineering section, and backup systems activated with wailing alarms. In the cargo hold, Alex Turner maintained his innocent appearance while chaos erupted around him. The guards were nervous now, speaking in rapid, anxious voices. Some had been reassigned to technical duties, leaving fewer watchers for the prisoners. Maya Chen sat beside Alex, pretending to comfort a crying child while actually reporting what she observed. 3 guards left 30 minutes ago. 2 more just got called away. That leaves only 6 watching all of us. Perfect timing, Alex replied quietly. Are Danny and Kate ready? Maya nodded toward 2 other prisoners across the cargo hold. Danny Rodriguez had been a Marine Corps engineer before becoming a civilian construction worker. Kate Williams was an astrophysicist who understood advanced technology better than most humans. Both had agreed to help after Alex explained his plan. Over the past 2 days, Alex had carefully selected allies, people with useful skills who could be trusted to follow orders without asking too many questions. He told each person only what they needed to know, keeping the full scope of his plan secret. When the lights go out, everyone moves, Alex instructed. Maya, you and Kate head for the engineering access tunnels. Danny comes with me to the armory. Remember, we're not trying to escape. We're taking control of this ship. Maya stared at him. Taking control? Alex, there are thousands of aliens on this vessel. There are also 25,000 humans, Alex replied calmly. The odds are actually in our favor once we level the playing field. Before Maya could ask what he meant, every light in the cargo hold went out. Emergency lighting activated a few seconds later, bathing everything in red darkness. In that moment of confusion, Alex Turner stopped being a mild-mannered scientist and became what he had always been underneath, a predator. Alex moved through the red-lit cargo hold like a force of nature. 20 years of military training exploded back to life as he struck the confused guards with surgical precision. These were not random attacks. Every movement was calculated to disable without killing, to create maximum chaos while minimizing actual harm. The first guard never saw Alex coming. A precise blow to the neck pressure point dropped the alien instantly. Alex caught the creature's weapon before it hit the floor and spun toward the next target. The energy rifle felt heavier than human weapons but operated on familiar principles. Danny Rodriguez moved like Alex's shadow, his Marine training evident in every step. Together, they created a corridor of confusion that allowed Maya and Kate to slip away toward the maintenance tunnels unnoticed. In the red darkness, other prisoners began to understand what was happening. This wasn't panic or random violence. This was a coordinated military operation led by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. Stay calm and follow instructions, Alex called out as he disarmed another guard. We're not rioting. We're taking back our freedom. Commander Crickstal felt the flagship shake as explosions echoed through the corridors. His communication officer reported fighting in multiple sections of the ship, but the reports didn't make sense. Humans were attacking trained Zeltharian soldiers and winning. How many humans are involved? Crickstal demanded. Unknown, sir. The attacks appear coordinated, but our sensors can't distinguish individual humans in the chaos. Crickstal activated the ship-wide communication system. All human prisoners are ordered to surrender immediately. Any resistance will result in the execution of 100 hostages for every Zeltharian casualty. But Alex had anticipated this threat. While Danny held their position in the cargo hold, Alex had reached the ship's internal communication center. His virus programs gave him access to the entire announcement system. Zeltharians of this fleet, Alex spoke calmly into the microphone, his voice carrying to every ship in the alien armada. This is Dr. Alex Turner, formerly Captain Alex Turner of Earth Special Operations Division. You made a critical error when you captured me. Across the fleet, alien crews stopped their work to listen to the human voice speaking perfect Zeltharian military protocol. Somehow, impossibly, this human understood their procedures and command structures better than some of their own officers. You assumed humans were weak because we prefer diplomacy to violence, Alex continued. But every species in this galaxy should understand something about humanity. We are persistence predators. We evolved by hunting creatures larger and stronger than ourselves through patience, intelligence, and absolute determination. In the engineering section, Maya and Kate had found the ship's main power core. The massive fusion reactor was protected by multiple safety systems, but Maya's engineering knowledge allowed her to access the control systems. "Can you overload it?" Kate asked. "Not without destroying the ship and everyone on it," Maya replied. "But I can destabilize the power distribution network, make their weapons and shields unreliable while keeping life support operational." Kate monitored the corridor while Maya worked. The astrophysicist had studied theoretical alien technology for years, but seeing it in reality was both fascinating and terrifying. "How long do we have?" "Maybe 20 minutes before they realize what we're doing," Maya said as she rewired control circuits. "Alex better work fast." Alex's voice continued broadcasting throughout the alien fleet. "Commander Crixtal, you wanted to demonstrate that Zeltharians are superior to humans through fear and intimidation. Let me show you what human superiority actually looks like." Every light on the flagship went out completely. Gravity generators fluctuated wildly, sending aliens floating helplessly through corridors they could no longer navigate. Emergency systems activated and deactivated randomly, creating confusion throughout the massive vessel. But the human prisoners remained calm in the cargo hold. Alex had warned them what would happen and how to prepare. They used the magnetic boots taken from fallen guards and moved with purpose through the chaotic darkness. "Impossible," whispered Chief Engineer Vextar as he watched his control panels fail one by one. "No human could understand our technology well enough to cause this level of damage." Commander Crixtal was beginning to realize the magnitude of his mistake. They hadn't captured a random group of human civilians. Somehow they had brought aboard their ship exactly the type of human they should have feared most. A warrior scientist who understood both how to fight and how alien technology worked. "Sir," called his tactical officer through the chaos, "we're receiving reports from other ships in the fleet. They're experiencing similar system failures. Whatever the humans are doing, it's spreading to the entire armada." Crixtal looked at his flickering displays showing the positions of 230 Zeltharian warships, all beginning to drift out of formation as their systems failed. In the space of 6 hours, his overwhelming military advantage had become a liability. And somewhere in the darkness of his own flagship, a human who had appeared to be nothing more than a harmless prisoner was systematically dismantling everything. The Zeltharian Empire thought it knew about Earth's capabilities. The bridge of the Zeltharian flagship had become a scene of complete chaos. Control panels sparked and failed, while officers shouted conflicting reports about system failures throughout the fleet. Commander Crixtal stood in the center of it, all his yellow eyes wide with disbelief as his empire's most advanced warship fell apart around him. "Bridge security to Commander Crixtal," crackled a panicked voice through the communication system. "The humans have breached Deck 7. They're moving toward your location with captured weapons." Crixtal activated his personal weapon, a ceremonial plasma rifle that marked his rank. "How many humans?" "Unknown, sir. They move through the darkness, like they can see in conditions that blind our troops. Our soldiers can't track them effectively." What the Zeltharian officers didn't understand was that Alex Turner and his small team weren't relying on vision. Years of military training had taught them to navigate by sound, air currents, and spatial memory. The failing lights that confused alien eyes meant nothing to humans who had been preparing for this exact situation. Danny Rodriguez moved through the corridor ahead of Alex, using techniques learned in urban warfare training. The Marine engineer had spent 3 years fighting in environments where visibility was limited, and every shadow could hide an enemy. This alien ship was just another battlefield. 2 guards at the next junction, Danny reported quietly through his radio. "Both carrying energy rifles, but they're looking the wrong direction." "Take them quietly," Alex replied. "We need to reach the bridge before Crixtal realizes what we're actually doing." Danny slipped around the corner like a ghost. 2 soft sounds followed, then silence. "Clear." Alex followed, stepping over the unconscious Zeltharian guards. He wasn't killing unless absolutely necessary. Dead enemies created martyrs and justified revenge. Defeated enemies became witnesses to human capabilities. On the bridge, Commander Crixtal was receiving reports that made no sense. Human prisoners throughout his ship had somehow armed themselves and were systematically disabling Zeltharian defensive positions. But instead of trying to escape or cause random destruction, They seemed to be following a coordinated plan. "Sir," called his communications officer, "we're receiving similar reports from 17 other ships in the fleet. The humans are somehow coordinating their actions across multiple vessels simultaneously." Krixtal's scaled hands clenched into fists. "Impossible. Humans don't have that kind of technology or organization." But even as he spoke, the bridge doors opened with a soft hiss. Alex Turner walked in calmly, still wearing his simple civilian clothes and glasses. He looked exactly like the harmless scientist the Zeltharians had captured 3 days ago. Except now he carried a Zeltharian energy rifle with the casual familiarity of someone who had mastered its operation in minutes rather than months. "Commander Krixtal," Alex said politely, "we need to talk." The bridge crew raised their weapons, but Alex made no threatening moves. He simply stood near the entrance, his rifle pointed at the floor, looking more like a professor giving a lecture than a soldier in the middle of a battle. "You're the saboteur," Krixtal stated, his voice filled with confusion and growing fear. "I'm Dr. Alex Turner," Alex replied calmly, "xenobiologist, former military officer, and currently the person responsible for demonstrating why your invasion was a catastrophic mistake." Through the bridge windows they could see other ships in the Zeltharian fleet. Many were drifting out of formation, their lights flickering as power systems failed. Some had collided with each other as navigation systems malfunctioned. The mighty armada that had seemed invincible 3 days ago now looked like debris floating in space. "What do you want?" Krixtal demanded. Alex walked to the main communication console, still making no aggressive moves despite being surrounded by armed aliens. "I want to send a message, not just to your fleet, but to every species in the galaxy that might be listening." "You're in no position to make demands, human." Alex smiled slightly. "Commander, look at your tactical displays, really look at them." Krixtal glanced at his screens and felt his blood turn cold. The red indicators showing system failures weren't just on his ship anymore. They were appearing throughout the entire fleet. Somehow, impossibly, the humans had infected every vessel in his armada with cascading technical problems. "How?" Krixtal whispered. "Because you underestimated what humans are capable of when we decide to stop being polite," Alex replied. "Maya, Kate, are you ready?" Maya Chen's voice came through the communication system from the engineering section. "All power distribution networks are under our control. We can shut down any system on any ship in the fleet." Kate Williams added from her position at the sensor array. "I've mapped the entire fleet's communication network. Every ship is connected through their command protocols. We own their information systems now." Alex nodded and activated the fleet-wide communication system. His voice would now be broadcast to every Zeltharian vessel and transmitted across subspace to their homeworlds. "Zeltharian Empire," Alex began, his tone remaining calm and professional. 3 days ago, you made contact with humanity by taking our people hostage. You assumed this would demonstrate your superiority and force our surrender. Instead, you provided us with an opportunity to show the galaxy exactly what humans become when our families are threatened." Commander Krixtal tried to shut down the communication system, but his controls no longer responded. The humans had taken complete control of his ship's operations. "You saw us as weak because we prefer peace to war," Alex continued. "But peace was always our choice, not our limitation. We are a species that survived by outthinking predators larger and stronger than ourselves. We turned hunting into a science, and warfare into an art form. Most importantly, we never stopped learning." On Luna Base, Captain Ryan Bell listened to the broadcast with amazement. His tactical displays showed the Zeltharian fleet in complete disarray. Their formation collapsed and their ships helpless. "Sir," called Colonel Price, "we're receiving surrender signals from multiple alien vessels. They're requesting immediate cessation of hostilities." "Hostilities?" Ryan laughed grimly. "We never fired a shot. One man did this with his bare hands and a handful of allies." Alex's voice continued broadcasting across space. "To any species considering aggressive action against Earth, understand this. What you just witnessed was not our military at its full strength. This was one human scientist working with basic tools and improvised plans. Imagine what we could accomplish if we actually wanted to hurt you. Commander Crixtal slumped in his command chair, his scales dulled with defeat. What happens now? Alex looked at the alien commander with something that might have been sympathy. Now you return our people safely to Earth. You report to your government that humans are not suitable targets for conquest or intimidation, and you spread the word throughout your empire that we prefer diplomacy precisely because the alternative is so much worse for everyone involved. And if we refuse? Alex gestured toward the tactical display showing the crippled Zeltharian fleet. Commander, in the last 72 hours, I've demonstrated that humans can infiltrate your ships, understand your technology, and disable your entire military force without killing a single one of your people. Do you really want to find out what we're capable of when we stop being merciful? Maya's voice crackled through the communication system. Alex, we're receiving word from other ships in the fleet. Human prisoners on 17 vessels have successfully taken control of their captors' ships. 0 casualties on our side, and we only had to stun a few guards who got too aggressive, Kate added. Long-range sensors show 3 more Zeltharian fleets approaching from their border worlds, but they've stopped moving toward Earth and are broadcasting requests for peaceful negotiations. Alex nodded with satisfaction. The message was spreading exactly as he had planned. Commander Crixtal, your people are learning the most important lesson about humanity. We become exponentially more dangerous when we work together. Every human you captured was a potential special forces. Operative, engineer, scientist, or strategist. You didn't take hostages, you recruited an army. As if to prove his point, the bridge doors opened and Danny Rodriguez entered, followed by 24 human prisoners who had armed themselves with Zeltharian equipment. They moved with military precision, but their faces showed no anger or hatred. They looked like librarians and teachers and engineers who had simply decided to solve a problem. Sir, Danny reported, all sections of the ship are under human control. Zeltharian crew members are confined but unharmed. We're ready to begin prisoner transfers whenever you give the word. Alex turned back to Commander Crixtal. I want you to remember this moment. Remember that humans gave you every opportunity to resolve this peacefully. Remember that even when we defeated you completely, we chose mercy over revenge. He paused, letting that sink in before delivering his final message. But most importantly, remember that there are 8 billion humans on Earth. Each one is capable of what you've seen today if circumstances require it. We are not a species you want as enemies. Alex Turner, the quiet scientist who had been studying microbes and ice just 3 days earlier, looked out at the stars through the bridge windows of the conquered alien flagship. Somewhere out there, word of